I agree.
What are we talking about? It's Shadur, the same guy that we thought was going number 1, number 2, or top or first round pick. Now you go in the 5th round. Why would I want to go somewhere where I can't play? Because you ain't playing with Lamar. I don't care what Deion, Prime, who you ain't playing with Lamar. When you think Shedeur was raised by Deion Sanders, he's going to have a lot of confidence. I'm a starting quarterback in this NFL league. Okay, I can't do that with Lamar. I can't do that with Josh. I can't do that with the Chiefs, but I can do that with the Browns.
LeSean McCoy is back, and he's coming in hot. The former NFL star is shutting down all the critics who keep bashing Shedeur Sanders for not joining the Baltimore Ravens when he had the chance. McCoy made it clear, yes, maybe Shadur wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to start right away in Baltimore or anywhere else, but that doesn't mean he made the wrong move. In fact, McCoy believes Shadur played his cards perfectly. Even though he's not starting right now, his time is coming, and when it does, he's going to prove why he belongs under center. And let's not forget, this is Shedeur Sanders we're talking about, a quarterback raised and mentored by none other than Deion Sanders himself. McCoy has full confidence that Shadur will shine, and he's not backing down from defending him.
For what? If I'm him, I want the teams that was looking at me before all the hate came in the draft. It was the Saints. That was the team that wanted to get him. It was the Browns that wanted to get him. It was another team that was the Giants wanted to get him. So all I'm saying, all these teams.
LeSean McCoy didn't stop there. He doubled down by putting himself in Shedur's shoes. He said if it were him making the decision and the options on the table were teams like the Saints, Giants, or Browns, franchises where he could step in and see action right away, versus the Ravens, where he'd be sitting and waiting, the choice would be simple. McCoy explained that any player with ambition is going to pick the team that gives them the quickest path to the field, not the one that leaves them on the sidelines with no clear shot at playing time. LeSean McCoy made it crystal clear. Shedeur Sanders isn't just another rookie quarterback. He's arguably one of the best prospects to come out of the draft. The hype around him was real, and McCoy reminded everyone that when a player is that talented, he's bound to make the right moves sooner or later. He added that if you're that highly regarded, there's nothing wrong with standing your ground and saying, "I'm not going to play for that team." According to McCoy, that confidence isn't arrogance. It's simply knowing your worth and making decisions that set you up for long-term success.
I don't know. I don't know what he did in college. He was really good in college, right? I'm not trying to compare me and him, but he was more hype coming out of college, right? He was always on TV doing his thing. But if I was him and I had all that hype and all that, and I knew how good it was, the way he thinks he's good, I'm saying that. Yeah, I don't want to play for them. I want to go to a big market team like Philadelphia, like the Giants. I'm a Cowboys superstar player, good lineman. I want to go there. If players could do that like the way he did.
LeSean isn't the only voice backing Shadur on this. Stephen A. Smith also came out in his defense. Stephen A. explained that Shedur's decision not to sign with the Ravens wasn't about disrespecting a big-name franchise, but about being realistic with his career path. He pointed out that the chances of Shadur getting meaningful playing time in Baltimore were extremely slim, and no young quarterback wants to be stuck holding a clipboard with no real opportunity to grow. For Stephen A., Shedur's move was less about passing on the Ravens and more about making a smart, calculated choice to build a future where he can actually step on the field and prove himself.
Cam Newton can be absolutely right that Baltimore is the better situation. Yet none of us can look at Shedeur Sanders and find extreme fault with his position.
Stephen A. Smith further emphasized that Shedeur Sanders had already shown he was one of the top quarterbacks coming out of college, pointing to his remarkable 72% completion rate and other standout performances. With stats like that, it was only natural for Shadur to want to get on the field as quickly as possible. Stephen A. explained that several NFL teams could have offered him an immediate shot to play, and that reality likely weighed heavily in Shedur's decision to look for a team where he'd have a real chance to start rather than waiting in the background. Stephen A. also highlighted that Shadur wasn't short on legitimate opportunities to start right away. He pointed to teams like the Browns, Bills, and even the Bengals as realistic landing spots. With Joe Burrow dealing with recurring injury issues, Cincinnati could have been an ideal situation for Shadur to step in. That's why, according to Stephen A., all the criticism surrounding his choice doesn't really hold weight. Considering his outstanding college numbers and the range of options in front of him, Shedur's move was anything but reckless. It was a calculated, strategic decision. Rather than sitting around and hoping for something as uncertain as Lamar Jackson going down, Shedeur chose a path that aligned directly with his long-term career goals.
But Kansas City wouldn't be one of them. Baltimore wouldn't be one of them. Buffalo wouldn't be one of them. Cincinnati, oh, there's a better chance there because there's always an injury to Joe Burrow, as Adam Schefter pointed out to start the show. That's what you're looking at. And so again,
LeSean McCoy stressed that joining the Ravens simply wouldn't have given Shadur a real chance to play. But with the Browns, the situation is completely different. McCoy pointed out that once Cleveland eventually moves on from Joe Flacco, who he bluntly referred to as an old man, the door will open wide for Shedeur Sanders. And when that moment comes, McCoy believes it will be a turning point not just for Shadur, but for the Browns as a whole. LeSean didn't let the Browns slide for rolling with Joe Flacco in the first 2 games. He called out the hype around Flacco, saying this old guy hasn't really been that great outside of maybe 1 or 2 solid seasons in his career. According to McCoy, bringing Flacco back onto the roster was a mistake, especially when Cleveland had younger talent waiting in the wings. He argued that this could have been the perfect chance for Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel to gain valuable experience and start developing into the future leaders of the team, instead of wasting snaps on a quarterback whose best years are long gone.
I hate, before you answer, I'm sorry, 1 second. Time out.
Go ahead.
I hate when I come on this show. Because I love the show.
It's not a lot lately.
But why are we talking about Joe like y'all surprised? You surprised he's bad?
I'm not surprised.
He's only been good for like a year or 2 in his whole career, for real.
Shady won a Super Bowl.
LeSean made it clear that his preference is to see Shedeur Sanders under center. But even if the Browns choose Dillon Gabriel instead, he's fine with that, so long as it's a young quarterback getting the shot. In his eyes, giving the reins to Gabriel or Shadur makes sense because both represent the future of the franchise. With Joe Flacco, however, there's neither a future nor much of a present, and McCoy stressed that sticking with him only delays the inevitable transition the Browns need to make. At the end of the day, both LeSean McCoy and Stephen A. Smith sent a strong message to the critics. Shedeur Sanders made the right choice, and time will prove it. McCoy pointed out that joining a team like the Ravens would have left Shadur buried on the depth chart with no real shot at getting on the field. Instead, he chose a path that positions him for growth and eventually a starting role. Stephen A. backed that up by reminding everyone that Shedur's college track record speaks for itself, from his outstanding 72% completion rate to his reputation as one of the top prospects in the draft. With those kinds of numbers, it only makes sense that he'd want to go somewhere he could step in sooner rather than later. The Browns might be leaning on Joe Flacco now, but as McCoy bluntly said, that's not a long-term answer. Whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel, Cleveland's future rests in the hands of young quarterbacks who can lead them forward. Shedeur's decision wasn't about ducking competition, it was about making the smartest move for his career. And if McCoy and Stephen A. are right, the payoff is coming sooner than anyone thinks. What do you think, fans? Did Shedeur Sanders make the right decision by passing on the Ravens for a team where he could get on the field sooner? Do you agree with LeSean McCoy and Stephen A. Smith that the Browns should already be giving him or Dillon Gabriel a shot instead of relying on Joe Flacco? And most importantly, do you see Shadur as the future face of the Browns offense? Or do you think he still has more to prove before earning that role? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.